So I'm going to cut straight to the chase on this video. Word got round in my family that I have a peculiar interest in analog photography, and I was kindly gifted a Canon EOS 500N. The N, I'm assuming, stands for no thanks, I am a piece of shit. However, on doing a little bit of research, I think I might be a little bit wrong with that. Obviously very thankful for anything free. When I first held it, it felt light, plastic and cheap, which surprisingly is exactly how I like my. However, doing the research online, I have learned that this is quite favoured amongst beginner analog photographers. I feel like I've been too used to holding like a really heavy Pentax K1000, which is like solid metal, and this is very light and plastic, but this also kind of works in its favour because it's lightweight. It's got a Canon zoom lens, which is, hold on, I should have done my research, which is 35 to 80 mil. It is f4 to 5.6. It is Canon zoom, but I've never had a zoom lens for film photography, which should give me a little bit of flexibility. And the settings on there's a lot of automatic settings. So obviously with aperture priority, portrait mode, landscape mode, macro and stuff. So it gives you a lot to kind of play with. I mean, me being practically a professional photographer, and I only shoot manual because I have my head so far up my ass. But I can't see a problem with letting the camera do the work for once and kind of stepping back and enjoying the scenery more than trying to fix your ISO and get the correct exposure settings or whatever. But the main reason behind this video is because there was actually film stock still in this camera. This film stock would have been in there for about 10 to 20 years in my assumption, so I wanted to take it out, finish the roll, go get it developed and see what was on there. So I started looking out my upstairs window until I realised that it's actually a pretty nice hot summer's day, and I probably should get my pasty little twigs out in the sun. But it'd be rude not to stop by my precious little Roo and take a couple of shots of her. But first I wanted to start things off with a shameless selfie. Not just a normal selfie, a mirror selfie. Like for like. Like for like, like for like. I was accompanied by this little frog who continuously kept talking about work, and I had to actively pretend I was listening when really I was actually trying to figure out what the buttons did on this little Fisher-Price camera. On the contrary, despite a few light leaks on these photos, they actually came out surprisingly cool. I mean, they're not going to go to a museum and be on display anytime soon. I actually sent the developed photos back to the owner who gave me the camera, so they could see obviously what they shot 10-20 years ago. However, I am wondering why they were taking pictures of flies back in the 90s, but I guess it must have been a trend back then. Hashtag boys. Once I'd figured out the weirdly complicated film rewind system, I discovered that the film roll was actually a Tesco colour film, which was actually really cool because me being a Sainsbury's guy, I don't know anything about this film, so I'm probably just going to leave it to you guys, the legends, if you want to disclose any information on Tesco film, because if I do any research, all I find is overpriced cling film. So yeah, post comments if you know more details about Tesco film. I love the results, even though they're not like my greatest photographs, it's still really nostalgic look to expired film, and even better to see it like a non-existent film roll. So yeah, that was a cool experience. feel like I'm going to come back to this camera in the future, potentially learn how to use it correctly, because if I'm going to be honest with you, I really could not be asked to learn. I actually have a few projects in mind which I think this camera would be perfect for. One of them being Facebook Marketplace. Yeah, perfect. So yeah, I guess that's my video. See you later. Fulani and a whole na papa ti.